everyone, and welcome to another video with Bavcall. Today we're looking at inserting charts, and on today's list we have line charts. Now when it comes to line charts, in today's data we'll be using stock prices from three stocks on the Ghana Stock Exchange. That's MTN Ghana stocks, the Benz Oil Palm Plantation, and Total Energy stocks. Okay, so we have them from 2nd January 2020 down to 31st December 2024. So this will be our practice data for the line chart. Now when we talk of line charts, right, or charts in general, now looking at tons of columns of data, right, or making a sound decision from it becomes very tough and sometimes very lengthy. However, one picture is supposed to be worth 1,000 words, right? Now looking at just a picture, or let's say a chart which has been deduced from a set of data, you could know that we can tell a story out of it. Now the story we'll be telling will be one that will be very simple to come by, easy to deduce, and also very simple to produce. Okay, now when it comes to line charts, a line chart is a type of chart that is used to display information as a series of data points, alright, called markers connected by straight line segments. Now when we look at line charts, alright, as we'll be looking at when we use our GSC data to generate, or let's say to insert the line chart. Now the line chart is a chart that helps us to analyze trends, right? So let's say if you are looking at prices, if you are looking at, let's say, the performance of certain stocks, so with this data using the line chart we can be able to analyze the performance of stocks. Also look at the date or periods where the stock price went up, where the stock price went down. Now using these data we could see that it's very difficult for us to tell, right, for us to tell whether the stocks are performing very well from 2020 to 2024. All right, looking at this data, because we have to go through all these data and also before we can make, let's say, a solid decision out of it. But with a chart, specifically the line chart, we can just look at the picture and tell a story about it, and tell a story whether MTN stocks have been on a rise or it's increasing, let's say from 2020 to 2024, all right, or the performance or the behavior of the Benz Oil Palm Plantation stocks from 2020 to 2024. So without much ado, now to go about with our data or our line chart, we first select the data. All right, in our previous lesson we learned how to select data. All right, if you decide to use a control shift, that's going to take you a lot of time because we are dealing with about we are dealing with about 1,227 data points, or 26 data points. All right, so the fastest way we can do that, we can just hold our control shift arrow key down, select everything. All right, now we can come to insert over here. All right, or with us to you can see this over here, quick analysis icon over here. You click on it, you go to charts. Right, so I'm looking at a line chart. All right, so what I'm looking here is a normal line chart. All right, so if I want to look at the other types of charts that we have, I can come to more, right, and I go to charts. Now you can see line over here. If I click on line, you can see various types of lines that we have over here. All right, so we have the normal line chart, we have the stacked line chart, we have the 100% stacked, we have the line with markers. All right, so with this one I'll go with the line and I hit OK. Now immediately I hit OK, I have this line chart over here. All right, this line chart over here. Now when you look at the types of line charts that we have, you can see over here. So the line chart that we used is a basic line chart without markers. All right, so the line with markers, to add the data point markers to the basic lines. All right, so you take note of these types of line chart that we have. Now when you come to this chart, okay, we can do a lot of things with this line chart. Now first of all, we can go to our elements over here, chart elements, and we can add, remove, or change chart elements such as the title, the legend, the grid lines. So with these ones, let's say if I don't want to have the grid lines. So the grid lines are these ones. I can come here and uncheck grid lines, right? If I don't want the legends over here, I can go ahead and uncheck legends, right? And we can also do a tons of formatting to this chart that we have over here. All right, good. Now I want to have my grid lines. Sorry, I want to have my legends over here, so I bring it back. Now you could see that at first our legend was at the bottom of the chart, but now it's on the right side. So we can change it to the position that we want it to be. So I can come here, you can see this over here, you click on it, and you can change the position of the legend, whether you want it to be on top, the left, or the bottom. All right, you can also go to more options and you can explore those ones also. Now okay, now one thing you can also do is that you can right click on the chart, all right, and you can format the plot area. All right, so let's say you can fill it with a certain color that you want. Let's say you are working with a dashboard where you have to insert a line chart. Now you want to make sure that the colors, or let's say the color you're using for the background, matches through. So you want it to also reflect in the chart. You can come here and choose, let's say, a solid color. All right, so this is too much, so let's say, so even with the same color, you can just make it a little transparent, something like this. Or with our studio, you can also change the color to any color that you want. All right, but we don't want this, so no fill. Oh, sorry. All right, so let's say if you don't want any fill at the background, you can use something like this. So let's say I want a solid fill, but I want to use, let me see, white. So if I use white, this will be how it will look like. All right, okay. Now with this also, I can also format the axis over here. All right, so if I hit on it, it selects the axis. I can right click and you can see over here format axis. So I can hit on format axis, and I can also do tons of formatting over here. All right, so axis options, you have these over here. All right, now with this place also, you can go ahead and also change, let's say, the number. So right, we are dealing with general, so I can change it to date. All right, exactly. Then with this one, I can also, let's say, if I want to change it, I can go ahead and change it. Or better still, you can link it to the source. All right, that the source will be where you are getting your data from. Now one thing we want to also look like is on the y-axis also, you can just right click and you can also format the axis. All right, now you can see that our format, our y-axis starts from 0 to 30. All right, I can increase it over here. Let's say I want the minimum to be 0, but I want the maximum to be 50. All right, I can do that over here. So immediately I hit, you can see it has changed from 0 to 50. Okay, so maybe I want to make it 20. I can do that, and you can see that also over here. Then let's say I want to also, let me see, with the text. All right, so the thick marks also to major types. Let's say, all right, complex formatting. Okay, yes. So immediately I select the ticks also, you can see there are ticks over here on the y-axis. All right, so these are how you can also go ahead and format your data, sorry, your chart. Now over here also, I can just go to the number. All right, and I can choose the number of decimal place. Let's say I want to make it 3, and you can see that over here. All right, you can see that over here. All right, now what I want us to look at now is that from the beginning we saw that a chart can tell us information that we might find it difficult looking at the data set, because from these data sets it will be very difficult. So let me go up. So from these data sets, although we can tell a story out of it, but it's very difficult to tell, let's say, a reasonable or sound story out of it. But looking at this chart over here, all right, we could see that all the share price are increasing over the years, but there's been a steep increase in that of Benzo oil palm plantation compared to that of MTN. Although MTN is also increasing, but you can see not as sharp as that of Total Energies and Ben's Oil Palm Plantation. And also with this, you can see that over this period, right, so 9 June 2023, there was a spike, alright, in the price of Total, Ben's Oil Palm Plantation. But you can see that of Benzo was sharper than that of Total, and that of MTN wasn't that sharp. Alright, so you can see that in the data also. So this is how a chart can also tell us a story from tons of data sets, so you should take note of that. Alright, so we like to end today's lesson over here. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.